Barcelona once again then 5 points clear at the top of the table after 2-0 victory against Leganes at the Camp Nou. Ansu Fati and Lionel Messi with the goals in the game. Sid Lowe, Frank Leboeuf and Ali Moreno with me. Ali, let's talk about the game overall. What did you make of it?
Well, you look at 2-0 for Barcelona and you may think, well, this was what you expected. It was comfortable. It was the sort of matchup that you would see Barcelona playing at home against a team like Leganes, who really doesn't pose a threat going forward. Well, the truth of the matter is that if you watch the game, you would have known that 15 minutes in, Leganes should have, and really, they should have been up 2-0. And when I say should have, I mean these are 100% chances that Leganes missed. One of them then led clears off the line. So what it tells you is that Barcelona is going to give away chances to anybody. Leganes has only scored 22 goals this season after 29 matches played, and yet they created clear opportunities against Barcelona early on in the game. From that, Barcelona had a difficult time creating chances, a lot of horizontal possession, side-to-side passing, not a whole lot of movement in the final third. They're able to break through by a goal by Ansu Fati, who I really think was the best player on the field for Barcelona in the first half, and really willing to take players on and trying to make a difference and break people down in 1v1 situations. Lionel Messi playing more of a playmaking role, kind of vertical passing, finding passes through line and breaking down defensive lines, doing that. But after that, offensively, Antoine Griezmann, more of the same. And when you look at Ansu Fati and what he did in 1v1 situations, and you look what Antoine Griezmann doesn't really do, doesn't really impact the game, doesn't really change the game, you just have to start wondering, when is it really going to happen for Antoine Griezmann? Everybody else seems to have a role in this team. Antoine Griezmann, not so just yet.
Let's go through some of those points. Let's start off with Ansu Fati. Shall we, Sid? Very impressive today.
Yeah, and part of it, of course, is because he does something different to other players. As Ali says, this was a Barcelona side that was faced by, defensively, a very deep team, a team that played with 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs who were very deep alongside them. And it was hard for Barcelona to find a way through it. And while it's true that Ansu Fati lost the ball quite often, while it's true that he's not always that precise with his passing, he does something that others don't do. He runs at people. He commits defenders. He opens space up for others. And with Junior running alongside him, he was probably the player most likely to make something happen in that first half. And I think that's really important for Barcelona. Not just the quality that he has, but the fact that he's slightly different in profile to the players around him.
Best player on the pitch today, Frank?
Oh, definitely. And you can ask and you wonder why Kikisic put him out. Maybe because it's easier, because the guy will not complain, because he's very young. And comparing to all-stars, you can see on the field, who I'm sure will have show their disagreement towards the coach. But Ansu Fati is able to change the pace of the game, change the rhythm, like Messi is capable of. And clearly today he was the best player that I saw. But the slowness of the game from Barcelona, the transparency of some player, made me enjoy seeing Ansu Fati changing the pace again and doing great on this side.
Second half, penalty for Barca. Penalty for you, Ali?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, the angles are kind of difficult to look at and trying to see where the contact's coming from. But I think the defender who's trailing the play from behind Lionel Messi bumps into Messi, and Messi was already losing his balance from dragging defenders around at the beginning of that play. I think it's a penalty. It's a close one, it's a tight one, but really it's not what changed the game. What changed the game here was Leganes not taking advantage of the early opportunities, and then from then on, Barcelona at some point was going to break through. As frustrated as they were in the first half, eventually they found a way through, and they did just enough. Don't quite understand why Quique Setién kept Messi out there for 90 minutes, given the amount of games that they have coming up. But I imagine that if you're Messi, you just tell Setién when to play and when not to play. And if you give the option to Lionel Messi, he's going to stay on the field.
How would you sum up Griezmann today, Frank?
Well, invisible, I would say, except that he scored a goal, but I think it was Semedo was an inch offside. But except that, and that goal was dismissed, we didn't see him. It's like wandering on the field, maybe wondering where he has to go to please the king, to get some good football and maybe being more efficient. But we don't see him. I don't see him like I saw him when he was playing for Atletico Madrid. When I see him every time he plays with the national team when he's a leader, is not at all the Antoine Griezmann that I know.
Sid, this is becoming a real problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and as Frank says, but more than anything else, there was a sense that he wasn't out there today. I mean, he scored that one goal that was ruled out. There's one very good interception he makes deep in his own penalty area late in the second half, and that's basically it. And obviously one of the things you'll always get with Griezmann is that work rate. He will come back, he will help out, he will, continue to make the runs, which he did all the way through the first half, but none of those runs ever really felt like they were the kind of runs that meant he would get the ball or that he would have a decisive impact on the game. Now, I think his stats this year show that he's been pretty important, particularly in terms of scoring the first goal. But for a player who came at the price that he came at, for a player who was as good as we thought he was at Atletico Madrid, it hasn't been a great season. And I think fundamentally, for the reason that Frank's outlined there, it's not just that Griezmann isn't playing well. It's that it doesn't feel like he has a place in this team. It doesn't look like he's found that part of the pitch and that role around his teammates that suits him. And for example, we've seen in, 4 games that Martin Braithwaite played, that Braithwaite seems to fit better than Griezmann. Now, of course, he's not as good a player, but he seems to have understood or embraced that role better than Griezmann's been able to do.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for whispering, Sid, throughout, trying not to wake his family. Of course, it's very, very late in Spain. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.